In this video, we will assemble a passenger side max rack. Before you begin, please gather the following tools: a 1/2-inch wrench, a 1/2-inch socket and ratchet, cordless impact, tape measure, marker, utility knife, and anti-seize compound. Each max rack single side comes with 4 boxes. Let's open the crossbar box labeled 16-UCD72. Make sure to completely empty the box before discarding. The rear crossbar has a Ranger design label, while the front crossbar does not. This label should be facing the rear of the vehicle. Open the packaging for the feet and all the required hardware. Keep these warning labels as they need to be placed in appropriate locations in the van. The 4 stud plates and fasteners will be used only during install to the roof of the van. The 4 plastic crossbar end caps should also be installed later in the assembly process. Hardware to attach the feet to the mounting tracks should also be kept aside for now. Verify that the jig is set up for the appropriate vehicle, both for the crossbar spacing and feet spacing. Place the 4 feet on the jig and lock into place. The locking system will only work if the feet are placed in the correct orientation. Place both crossbars over the feet. Insert the 8-channel nuts, 2 per foot. We can install the fasteners at a later point. Next, open the main box, 18-U1810 for passenger side or 18-U1815 for driver side, and remove the 2 U brackets shown. Push out the plastic bushings for easier assembly, but do not remove completely. Open the hardware bag, separate the literature, plates, and gas cylinders. Take note to assemble the carriage bolt plates with the bump feature pointing up. Insert 5 carriage bolts per plate and slide into the extrusion. Place the U brackets over the 2 last carriage bolts and push back the plastic bushings. Measure and mark 1.5 inches from the end of both crossbars. This determines the exact location of the carriage bolt plates. Pro tip: add anti-seize thread compound. Secure the carriage bolt plates by adding flat washers and locking nuts. Repeat for the other crossbar. To position the feet, add and hand tighten the 5/16 hex bolts. Include a flat washer and a spring washer. Pro tip: use a Sharpie to indicate the foot location to the crossbar in case it moves during assembly or install. Place and assemble the rear mechanism. Cut the tie wrap that goes through the hex opening, but do not cut the other tie wrap. Place the mechanism on the crossbar and secure with only 1 washer and lock nut. Add the other 2 washers and lock nuts. Make sure to place the mechanism parallel to the crossbar and tighten all 3 lock nuts. Repeat for the front mechanism. Next, you will assemble the 2 hex bar units. Let's assemble the front unit first. Make sure that the metal spacer is attached to the front hex bar unit. Insert the hex bar through the U-bracket bushings and the front mechanism. Be aware of the orientation of the hex bar, with the bolt heads facing up. Insert the rear hex bar through the rear mechanism and U-bracket bushings. Pro tip: the 3 equally spaced holes must be facing each other and the numbered labels should be visible and facing up. Assemble the gas cylinder marked 18010 to the hex bar link now, as you will have limited access if the hex bar is fully assembled. You can also assemble the front gas cylinder 18-167 to the hex bar link. Cut the remaining tie wraps, lower the mechanism, and lock it into place with a plastic holder. Insert and secure the long hex bolt through the mechanism and hex bar. Include a flat washer on either side and secure with a lock nut. Repeat this step for the other mechanism. Now to assemble the rear elbow. Make sure that the plastic bushing has not fallen out. From the rear, push the elbow all the way through. Add a long hex bolt to secure the elbow to the hex bar. Include a washer on either side and a lock nut. Assemble the center tube over both hex bars. You may need to move the crossbars apart to gain space. Add the 2 remaining long bolts, washers, and lock nuts to secure the center tube. Make sure that the labels indicate the desired crossbar spacing. Here, we are at 65-inch spacing. Now we will add the 2 ball studs. Make sure to add a flat washer on either side and then add the lock nut. Pro tip: do not fully tighten the lock nut at this point. Install the other end of the cylinder fitting to the ball stud. Now you can tighten the lock nut to the ball stud. Repeat for the other mechanism. As a last step, don't forget to place the labels you put aside earlier. The Black Ranger label goes on the ladder to indicate the front hook mounting point. There's also a warning label that we recommend placing on the partition or somewhere visible in the vehicle. Finally, measure the height of the vehicle with the rack and note that height on the provided label, then secure it to the van's windshield. And that completes the Max Rack assembly.